to another episode of the Elly Show. I'm your host, Elly. Y'all make some noise. Got some awesome guests in here today. Just want to keep in mind, this is episode 5, guys. This is episode 5. So this is going to be a powerful and special one right here. All right. So we're going to get into it with the African diaspora. I want to go home. I want to go home. Y'all probably thinking, like, what am I talking about? Well, bridging the gap in the African diaspora, I told you I'm bringing you industry standards every episode. This episode is about the traveler, the one who migrates, the one who wants to go from point A to point B. So cultivating, travel, relocation in film industry. We're going to talk about Africa. That's what we're here to talk about today. All right. And who's been to Africa? Because I haven't yet. I haven't. But we have our guests here who have. All right. So can we just jump into this?
Let's do it.
Let's talk about this right here. Because I know y'all seen all the previous other episodes where you didn't see this. And today y'all do. So can we talk about this? Because my producer here, he suggested we do this today. And I'm with it all the way. Can we, where's this from?
That's from Kumasi.
That's Kumasi.
Kumasi, Ghana. Yes.
Kumasi, Ghana. Yeah. Y'all make some noise for Kumasi, Ghana.
All right.
I never heard of Kumasi.
Yeah.
Now I just learned something. Talk to me. Well, I didn't get a chance to introduce our guests yet. So first, let me do that before I even ask Dr. Kwesi here. Hailing from Trinidad, New York, Atlanta, now Ghana, we have Ldale. Y'all make some noise for Ldale.
All right, Baba.
When you want to embrace travel, experience growth, experience Ghana, experience culture, visit www.cbbexperience.com. That's Culture Beyond Borders. We have Dr. Kwesi, Ewoodize. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
PhD, founder, and director. Y'all make some noise.
All right.
All right. And here we have Victor Harris. All right, we did some research on you, Vic. CEO?
Yes, sir.
At Victor Harris Studios?
Yes.
Okay, that's in Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And former film producer at Jamaican Music?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. I know that was fun. Yeah. So y'all make some noise for Victor Harris.
Right,
Much more to go, son. We got time. All right. So now I'm going to jump right back to the beginning and let's talk about this right here. Dr. Kwesi, because you have a connection to this, right?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Damien was correct. This is from Kumasi. That's the Ashanti region in Ghana. So when you go to the Ashanti region, you get a lot of culture.
Okay.
A lot of tradition. And we may get into it later about all the things you can do when you're traveling through Ghana. But going to this area, this is at the Adinkra village.
Okay, the Adinkra village.
Why is it called the Adinkra village? If you see the cloth well, you see symbols on the cloth.
I do.
Each symbol has a meaning, and each, as a group, they're called the Adinkra symbols.
Okay.
The Adinkra symbols. This one, you see the bird with the neck going back, that's the Sankofa.
Okay.
So you've heard that phrase a
I've
lot.
heard it.
Stateside. So the two most popular, that's the Sankofa. And this one is the Jiyami.
The Jiyami.
Jiyami, meaning nothing is possible except God. So supremacy of God. So these two are two of the most popular ones. I'm not going to catch myself going through all these.
Right.
You got to go to the village and find out the rest.
That's awesome.
But this is a cloth that when you go there, this is just plain blue at the jump. And then you have the bamboo symbol carved. They dip it in ink, black ink, and they stamp it on here. You can get the stole version, personalize it. For my company CBB that you mentioned, we've made our own. If you go on our website or online, our symbol is an Adinkra symbol for the company, and it means interdependence.
Interdependence. Okay, I've seen the symbol.
how we can help you and you can help us, right? Is through that collaboration, through that exchange. So that's what Adinkra symbols do. They just communicate a lot through your clothing. So that what the chief will wear, what the king will wear, you will never wear. Because there's power in the symbols. So it goes on and on. But that's why this is from the Shanchi region. That's why this is from the Adinkra village. That's the symbols you see here.
Okay, that's awesome. Y'all make some noise for that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just learned something new.
Culture.
All right. So let me see here where we got. So Dr. Kwesi, in talking to you about that, what was your experience coming to the States from Ghana? And what was that like?
So to this
you're
day,
born there.
Yeah, I was born there. When I introduced myself, there's 3 identities I go with. I'm Ghanaian American first. I'm a sociologist, and I'm an interculturalist. Now, once you find out of all the different ways and things I do, those 3 identities pretty much encompasses that. But I moved from Ghana to the U.S. at a young age. I was 10. At that age, and especially that time, I mean, when I left Ghana, there's no Facebook, there's no you're keeping in touch with people. So it was, a complete cutoff, and at that age you don't have much choices, right? So I came and I was just I moved to the Midwest. First of all, so
was you excited?
I mean, it was just like, I remember the first time
Culture
seeing
shock.
snow, and
Culture shock.
all these things, and being in middle of nowhere, Illinois, moving stateside as a 10-year-old, you just got to learn to adapt. And I remember listening to people to ask them, hey, what's the rules about football, American football, right? Even to learn how to play with peers. So no, I mean, I'm very thankful for my initial years on the continent. I saw blackness different. So being Ghanaian American now and seeing Black American life and identity, and having my Ghanaian American identity, it goes into the work I do, which is build the bridge between the diaspora. Because I'm very thankful that naturally through the course of my life, it just came. I understand the bridge, I understand where I come from, and I want more people to also experience that. So when you started with you want to go home, I'm like, yes, you need to.
So you've been traveling on that bridge for a long time. So you got experience.
And you all made that choice maybe in your adult stages, which is so powerful too, right? I just kind of got, pushed into it, which I'm very grateful. So my story is different, but I want more people to have similar, stories.
So then that leads me into Ldale. How you doing, Ldale?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. I'm so happy you guys are here. I want to ask you, why Africa? Why now? And
Africa is not an adult decision. I wanted to go to Africa since I was a teenager.
Okay.
It's been something, it's a life decision, what I mean? It's like I couldn't leave this stage until I go to Africa.
Speak up.
So I wanted to go to Africa since I was maybe about...
While you were in Trinidad?
About 14, 15. I was aware of Africa as a place of our beginnings. Came here at 16, and it occurred to me later on that boys don't start having friends until they're about 16. Lifelong friends. Like if you listen to girls, you will always hear little girls say that their relationship with their girlfriend started when they were 5 and 6, and they usually could trace their relationships with their girlfriends from very early ages. But homeboys become homeboys around 16, 17.
When they start getting in trouble.
I would say when you could find your interest group. You know what I mean? It would be more about aligning yourself with people who shared the same interests as yours, And in some cases, will get into trouble.
Yeah.
Right? So I came here and I had to actually start all over creating friends, because there are exceptions to what I just said. People who have lived in the same place all their lives maintain their relationships with their friends from childhood. You understand? It only works in the diaspora, what I just described, where you have people who lead transient lives.
Right.
Okay? So going to Africa was a must for me. But like I said, starting these new relationships and coming as a young person, falling in love, starting families, having new interests, you know what I mean? These things could delay a trip for somebody who had an ideal goal, you know what I mean? Because reality steps in and, you know, survival is the thing, and you've got to do the things that need to be done to maintain your family, to maintain the things that you truly care for. Right. You know what I mean? And as you know, children are our treasures.
Absolutely.
So if you don't take care of your treasures, you could lose them.
True.
You know what I mean? So I got, I guess you could say, delayed. Delayed, but I think I went to Africa at the right time.
Yeah.
I think all my life experiences prepared me for going to Africa when I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
What about you, Vic?
That's powerful.
Same? Is it the same for you?
Well,
because you're from the States going there.
You know, I really didn't. How I ended up in Africa, my youngest son, who is 28, gifted me a DNA test a couple of years ago for Christmas.
Which kind? Which one is it? African ancestry?
Medical. He went to school out in California, Stanford, graduated, has a degree in biology, and so he gifted me a medical DNA test. Okay. And I thought I knew what the results would be. But when the results came back, I was somewhat shocked, you know, because I believed that I know I was going to have some African ancestry, but all my life I had been led to believe that it would be majority Native American. And so when it came back 80% African, I was like, this must be a mistake. Because I mean, because of my military experience, I've been Australia, China, lived in Canada, been to Europe. You know, my son's mother is from Jamaica. So I consider myself well-traveled, but I never had a desire to visit Africa. And I said, well, I reasoned to myself, I don't even know anybody in my family, which my family is really large, that has ever been to Africa. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do my own research and I'm gonna be the first. So when the opportunity presented itself when COVID hit, you know, and I mean, I had been thinking about it for a minute. I said, hey, look, man, I got to go now, you know. So I did, man. I planned out a trip for 2 months. And I visited, and in my plans, I said, you know, if it's true, I'm going to visit a few cities to see.
Based on your DNA chart?
To see if it's true and where I best, you know, would fit, if it's true.
What speaks to you?
Man, and so I started on the east coast of Africa. The year of the return was 2019.
The year of the return.
And there was a lot of publicity, you know, in Ghana. And I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to start there. Let me start on the east coast of Africa and work my way back to Ghana. And then come home. So that's what I did. And so I had an opportunity to visit Nairobi, Kenya is where I started. Then Dar es Salaam and Zanzibar, Tanzania. I went through Kigali, Rwanda. And then I ended up in Accra, Ghana. And man, I had no idea that the continent was so large. Okay. And I you know, communicating with friends, you know, we refer to Africa like it's one place, and not really internalizing that it's 54 different countries.
Countries.
And it's a continent. Yeah. Over three times larger than the U.S., United States.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
So when you went, was it exactly how you envisioned it?
man, it was more wonderful than I could have ever imagined.
Wow.
Sometimes people, you know, I talk to people,
Yeah.
and I use the phrase "melanated heaven."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it was to me.
Yeah.
Because it just, I mean, you know, I've been to the Caribbean, but you know, those are islands. They're so much smaller.
Yeah.
You know, I love Jamaica. I love Trinidad. I love the islands. I love the climate.
Yeah.
I love the people.
Yeah.
It doesn't compare.
But it doesn't compare,
It doesn't compare.
because of the size.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, being on the Indian Ocean, get an opportunity to visit Zanzibar and the largest market,
Yeah.
you know, which was known as the spice market.
Yeah.
Man, I had never seen so many different types of melanated people. Okay, you know the Indian Ocean.
Wow.
If you just all the places around the Indian Ocean,
Yeah.
it's melanated people.
Yeah.
You know, and so man, it was like wow.
Right.
You know, and so hey man, that's how I ended up in Africa.
Yeah.
And I guess it was the right time for me because I can remember from all my travels
Yeah.
around the world, I would run into brothers, you know, in every place that I had been, and I would think they were American like me,
Yeah.
but they'd always be from Nigeria
Yeah.
or a part of Africa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They look just like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dressed just like us.
Yeah.
And I would think that they were Black American. No,
Yeah, no.
they're African.
Yeah.
And so I can't say all the places I've ever been on any coast, on any continent, I would always meet African and a Chinese. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chinatown, and I don't mean that in a negative way because when I served in the Navy and I lived in Hawaii for 2 years, I became accustomed. I love Chinese food.
Yeah.
You know, I love authentic Chinese food
Yeah.
because it's so, you know, natural.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, it's
African
different.
food
Yeah.
because it's all organic
Yeah.
and natural. But every city on every coast that I've ever been, there was always a Chinatown. And after I got a chance to visit China, I understand why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the larger populations in the world. Africa, one of the larger populations in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And after my experience, man, hey, look, I never considered myself, I mean, after the first experience, I was like, man, I never considered myself a minority again.
No doubt.
So you look at the world totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But it was great.
So that leads me to my next question, Dr. Kwesi. Your company, Culture Beyond Borders?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah. Culture Beyond Borders, CBB. I like to call it a platform.
Okay.
It's just, if I have a mission, a calling in this world, it's just that platform that allows me to do it. And
obviously this is your calling.
yes,
Right?
yes, yes. Like because there's 3 layers. Those are the identities I mentioned. Ghanaian American. That's my personal life story.
Okay.
Sociology. That's what I studied, my academic background, and interculturalist. That's further training.
So it's like in that
that I
order?
received.
Okay.
Yeah, and all of that is really is understanding people and how people interact. First, I had to understand different cultures just because of my life. Sociology is about understanding groups and how people interact within groups. And interculturalist is how to understand differences, how to navigate differences. So what does CBB have to do with all this?
Yeah.
I facilitate intercultural experiences through travel.
Oh, wow.
But that's not the only way to do intercultural experiences. I happen to do it through travel. One. Secondly, I happen to do it through promoting the continent, the African continent, because it's a destination, it's a location, it's a set of cultures that doesn't get promoted the way it should be, it ought to be, right?
In a lot of communities in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially here in America.
and from you all's experiences, you can speak to what people are missing. This is what I knew since migrating here.
Right.
So CBB is to facilitate that. Another way I like to say it is I like to make the continent accessible. I'm a travel and tour. It's a travel and tour company. I mean, I love to just make that experience so easy for people.
So it's like for me, if I'm say I wanna travel, I go to your website. How do I do it? Do I go about applying, or how do I go about that? Because you got different packages.
Yeah, you go to the website, you see packages.
Can you explain those packages?
Yes, I have just 5-day experience examples. These are sample itineraries. I love to customize it.
Okay.
Right, so I just have sample activities and itineraries on the website in different countries. So going from West to East Africa, Cabo Verde, that's off the coast of West Africa, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Benin, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. You can find all those.
Awesome.
South Africa. You can find all those packages. Some already set up, some upcoming on my website.
That's awesome.
So you look at the packages. You can either click through those, or you can send me an inquiry.
Yeah.
In which I've been getting these inquiries. Hey, I want a 40th birthday party for my family and friends. Where do you want to go to? I want to go to Ghana. Where do you want to go to? I want to go to Rwanda. All right, when do you want to go? I want to go next April. Bet. Let's get to work. So my services is comprehensive. That's why I say I want to make the continent accessible. Lodging, transportation, the activities, the cultural sites you want to visit, the additional cultural. Do you want a cooking lesson when you're on the continent? Do you want to get your hair done? Do you want to go learn about these Adinkra symbols?
You can do all of that.
We'll fit all that in. So it is to, medical, you want to go see, there's one of my good friends is in the biochemistry department in University of Ghana. And looking at the genome studies from we've studied it from the Western European point of view. She's looking at it from the African continent point of view. So I mean,
that's amazing.
Whatever it is you see
facilitate
on and that's where network. I think we'll get into the part of the conversation where relationships are crazy important for the continent. So you can enter almost like you're a local if you go through CBB.
Okay.
Right. You can. Everybody can go. And I think Vic will speak about the importance of relationships. All I offer is you can piggyback on every relationship I've made,
That's
being
awesome.
Ghanaian American. And I understand your side too, right? And I understand the Ghanaians. So it's just this meeting of the mind. I also
This
say
is awesome, man.
bridging difference, bridging the diaspora to the continent. So I can, that's CBB, that's that platform.
Yes.
It's just to
Y'all make some noise for that.
Make things happen.
Yeah, that's important. We need that, man.
Well, I want to add. The thing is most African Americans don't understand that the African slaves had a culture, different cultures.
Right.
And this African culture is the culture that their ancestors had.
Right.
That slavery, Jim Crow, beat out of them.
Right.
Beat out of them. And
tried.
So sometimes, exactly. So sometimes, I'll ask people, where do you think your culture came from? You can't just pick culture up.
Right.
So a lot of the culture that we African Americans have is what we've gained from our Anglo-Saxon counterparts.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even though we don't say that.
Right.
But the way we are. I mean, we've only been around our Anglo counterparts 400 years? Association brings on assimilation. You see what I mean? And many of us do it without even realizing.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the thing that in a situation of conquered and conqueror, the most successful among the conquered are the ones whose mimicking skills are
The best.
the best. You see, even in simple things like the arts.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You would find that the people who are conquered, their art would approach the art that is accepted by the larger society or the conquering or dominant people.
The conquerors, yes.
So it's that thing that happens.
Yes.
You know, and it's not unique to the the African situation and the European situation. When Africans were going out and making their mark around the world, it happened.
Right.
So the world was cultured by Africans too.
Right.
Because even the Greeks and the Romans were taught by the Africans that invaded.
Kemet.
That doesn't be taught in school.
You know what I mean?
You're not taught that in
Arabic
school.
movement as well.
Yeah, the first university.
One of the
Wow.
things that complicates our assessment of history and where we are is the fact that we count the history of the world on a 6,000 year origination. You know what I mean? And that seems, though it's a lifetime, if I live that long, I might be dust. But you know what I'm saying? It is one of them things that you have to figure. The Earth is way older than life on Earth. Human life on Earth is way older than we've been told.
Right.
That's fair.
I even venture to bet that the 6,000 years of human history is the one that when Europeans started to record their own lives. You see, because we weren't doing it like that. We had griots. We had, you know what I mean? We had celestial
we had
methods
record keepers
of keeping records. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we, like you say, Vic, we tend to mimic.
Yeah.
We tend to mimic our conquerors.
You know? And it's not a put down, it's a survival mode.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll add this, a lot of people will be able to, I mean, I learned so much history over there. Books that you can't get here.
Really?
African history.
Really?
You know, Kwame Nkrumah and all of that, man. Kemet, you know, Egypt and all of that, right? And then, it's funny, I had a thought, and I was like, I mean, I guess most of my life, I believe Jesus was white. Because on both of my grandparents' wall in the living room, which is the best room in the house where you couldn't afford to get on the furniture.
Right.
Was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus and Martin Luther King. And many people I talk to, the same thing.
The same in their house.
And then you know, and it dawned on me, how could Jesus be white when he was a Jew in Israel?
In the desert.
In the desert. And poor. And family couldn't afford a hotel room.
Yeah.
He had to be black.
Right.
Well, you know, that thought right there never dawned on us as children.
Right.
And fit in.
Right.
Okay, so in other words, we have been taught Christianity. I find out that Christianity had been in Africa before America was even an idea. Cape Coast is a city older than America. America's only 500 years old. And it started out 13 original colonies. It wasn't 50 states.
Right.
It was 13 original colonies, not even one state.
Right.
And it was an idea
Right.
for Europeans, not the slaves that they brought.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it makes you start to view and think about history completely, totally different.
Right. That's incredible.
And it frees you.
There's a lot of unexpected freedom.
It frees you.
Openness to just the world.
Yeah.
Ask different questions.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So you don't have to put anybody down.
Right.
But what it does is it lifts you up.
Right.
It's hard for somebody to stand on your back when you're standing up.
So Baba Ldale, that was interesting what you said too. How different is the Africa today versus the one you had maybe in your mind
When you were young.
when you were young? Yeah. Your local you.
Well, okay, so when I was a kid, I would go to my mother's village in a place called Tobago, a town called Charlottesville, Tobago. And it was a pretty rural existence. They were subsistence farmers, and they would also export the surplus to whoever would buy it.
Okay.
Mostly European companies would come, and they would have a boat off the coast, and they would send launches, and the launches would come and take the merchandise to the boat and sell it. And that happened, I imagine, all across Tobago and Trinidad and the Caribbean for people who had merchandise that could be sold, like things like cocoa and all of that. The difference in the production is that people kept some of the food that they grew. In Ghana, people grow things like coffee and cocoa, but they don't generally use the cocoa. They would buy cocoa if it comes in the form of Milo, or the Milo,
That brand,
or Ovaltine. They would buy it there and use it then, but until that point, they're not buying it. And they're the producers
of
the active ingredients in these foods. It gets shipped out and refined. And back to what Vic was saying about Christianity being in Africa. Everything in Africa is the originator. What happens is that it gets shipped out and refined and sold in Africa.
Brought back.
When it comes back, it's not the same price.
It's not the same.
It's not today's price.
No, that's a fact. That is a fact.
And anything that comes out of Africa can fetch a higher price where it's going. Anything.
That's true.
Wow.
There's a palm oil,
right?
A palm that grows in every confectionery, a manufacturing operation. That's one of the major ingredients in all the candies. All the candies.
Okay.
And so Africa is so dynamic. It's so dynamic. One of the things that if you don't mind me saying, that surprised me was the devotion that the average Ghanaian has to Christianity. Is stupefying. The town shuts down, the country shuts down on a Sunday. People go to church in droves.
Isn't there Muslims there too?
Yeah, they are Muslims. So the other
Like the
on Friday you have Juma, you have
together,
Juma. The Muslims they shut down their businesses too on Friday evenings. But the majority of Ghana is Christian. So.
But they get along, everybody.
There's respect.
That's just good to know.
Respect.
That's awesome to know that.
I mean, they even intermarry.
Yeah, for
really?
sure. For sure.
Wow.
I mean,
that's not frowned upon.
They respect one another's faith.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They really
That's
do.
real.
Yeah.
That's real.
And there's some more hurdles you have to go over between the families. But I mean,
that happens here.
If you're committed, you could definitely,
everybody claims to be Christian.
Right.
And that happens here.
Marriage in Ghana is seen as joining of families.
That's
not of the people.
Not of the people.
So even the groom's family has to come and request the hand in marriage, and they have to come as a family group. It's not we're sending one person and then when it's accepted, it's also just is like a joining of the two. So even disputes are to be taken to head of the family. Before anything like breaking up the marriage comes. There's
any decision.
So that's why when it's between religions as well, there's even
I
that
like
much
that.
more discussion
I like
to be
that.
even had.
Because here in the States, it's more of the individual.
Right. It's like, oh, they've married. We haven't seen them since they've been married.
Yeah, that
right.
happens.
Yeah,
That happens.
yeah.
Because nobody likes the groom and nobody likes
Right.
the bride. That family get ostracized.
Yeah.
And they're put to the side. Or, I don't like that.
That's
I don't
interesting.
Like him,
Wow.
Your auntie is gonna come to the house. They're gonna
Yep.
stay at the house.
Yeah.
Like you
That's
don't have
fair.
a choice, but
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's true.
I like that though.
Yeah.
I wish that was more of a practice
But
here.
see, that's the cultural difference. You know what I mean? I mean, Africans know that they're not white,
Right.
and they know what their culture is.
Right.
And and here, unfortunately, our self-made culture is nothing like that, and it's unfortunate because their culture doesn't necessarily work for us.
Yeah.
I was there for the last time I went. I was there for 4 months. I did not hear of one person getting shot. And so when they hear about what's going on here,
Yeah.
they can't even comprehend it.
Yeah.
The average African has never on the continent has never experienced racial discrimination.
Don't know what
Because the majority
Don't know
of the
what it is.
cities
Wow.
and townships are
Wow.
98% melanated people.
Yeah.
99.7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
99.7.
Right.
And somebody was trying to share with me the population of Africa. I said, well, who did the census? Because I know Africans ain't gonna let white folks count them.
Right.
So they don't know.
Right.
And it's a continent. And they say in China, there are 3 billion Chinese in China. Well, I can believe that. I've been there. I've been to Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Beijing. And I didn't even know it was that many Chinese people on the planet.
Yeah.
Until he
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? But after traveling the continent of Africa,
Yeah.
I know that the population is probably similar.
Yes.
Wow.
But there's much more land in
Yes,
Africa.
yes.
And a lot of the Chinese that are there working, guess what? They're marrying Africans because they don't want to go back to China.
Really?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Kwesi, let me ask you this then. Do you got like a starter packet for people? Like something, like is it affordable or you have different rates or how does that work?
Yeah. I think we were talking about it earlier. The continent is interesting.
Why so?
I ended up doing my actually dissertation project in Ghana. That's how I kind of, after leaving Ghana when I was young, reconnected. But one of the things I walked away from spending about 2 years doing this project was like, anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed.
Okay.
Anything is possible, nothing's guaranteed.
That should be a T-shirt.
Whatever you want on the continent, whatever you want in Ghana, you can get it.
Okay.
You can. I mean, it's just it's all there now.
Yeah.
Everything is there.
Yeah.
It's just how do you go about doing it?
Okay.
That's so when you ask, are there different type of packages? Yes. Do you want to go and experience the local style of living?
Okay.
We got economical spaces through my network, and you do your own research, talk to people. There are places that are perfectly safe.
Yeah.
You will feel comfortable. You receive good service. You'll be respected, and you experience the culture.
Yeah.
Now that's the economical one, and then you can go all the way to high end, where it's like you are in an enclosed space. It's more of a high end resort type feel.
Yeah.
Some of the local challenges that come either with water access or electricity. That I want to experience that when I want, and I want to retreat back to my comfort zone when I don't want. Those packages are there too. So there are high-end hotels. There's guest houses There's Airbnbs.
Okay.
There's so many ways to experience and plan your package. That's why I say I like to customize it. Who are you? What kind of traveling have you done?
So you asked that in your...
Oh yeah.
Okay. So they fill it out.
What motivated you? That's one of the questions on my side. What motivated you to want to go to the continent? I just love wildlife and I want to see the safari. I'll tell you, Kenya.
Okay.
Because that's not Ghana.
Right.
I did that.
Per se.
Yeah, I did it. it was fabulous.
What I enjoy or why I always love promoting Ghana, obviously I'm biased, is you have access to the local people. Do you want to walk in the market? Where people are like just hustling without any kind of concern? That's Ghana. Do you want your nightlife just be out in the streets without any worry?
Ghana?
That's Ghana.
Oh wow.
Because there are other places where they'll say, "Oh, welcome. Oh, but at night, stay here. Stay in this. Stay in this zone. Or we're just so happy to have you. But by the time you're done with the 1 week, you've met about 3 of the locals. Those are just the people who are there to specifically serve you. Ghana, you can wake up, you just start walking down the street. I mean, they'll take your money if you're just spending too much. But other than that, you can meet people, you can form personal relationships. So those are the different experiences I offered, the degree to which you want to connect.
Right.
All the way from the high end to, I mean, listen, we got police escorts if you want to move through the city really quickly. We got expressway to get out of the airport if you want to skip the lines.
You have that.
It's all there. You just gotta ask.
Dr. Kwesi is
Do you want Ghana is a hustling town.
Right.
Listen, everybody in Ghana. So the method of earning, or when you're earning in Ghana, they say you're chopping. Chopping, yes. You know, if you're eating food, you're chopping. So from this point on, we can talk about chopping, and as it relates to what we do or what you do. You know what I mean? So it's necessary to know why
I see.
So he's chopping.
He's chopping right now.
How do you want to do it? Do you want visa on arrival?
Right.
You got that. Like,
This is the guy.
It's not even.
He's the plug, as we say.
Right.
You want the yellow fever shot, you want to jump the line.
They still doing that too, right? You have to take your shots and stuff, right?
You can get all that sorted.
Shots are only necessary for people under a certain age.
Oh, okay.
Only if you're a guy like me, I don't need Vic might not need it either.
Okay. Copy that.
So find out all the requirements before you land. But I mean, it's you have to come with it. You have to come with the excitement. Like once you're ready, I'm ready. But if you're not, like, just be curious about something, want to know about something, and start a conversation through my online, with my team on social media. Just start a conversation with the platform. Then you're there because I can make it happen. Right, and people that I've gone talk to them too. Maybe they'll give you some ideas, but it's life changing. The continent is just amazing.
They have everything.
Let me ask you this. I hear that y'all said this earlier, the year of the return. What is that?
So 2019 was 400 years since the first ship of enslaved person landed in, I believe, Virginia. So Jamestown in Accra, Ghana, was actually where they departed from. So Ghana had this kind of commemorating that experience, that anniversary, and they were saying, calling people back home. Again, your
From
phrase,
the diaspora.
your phrase when you started is, "I want to go home."
Right.
And out of all the African countries, in fact, Ghana has been the most active in calling for a connection with the diaspora.
That's true.
Which is important. You mentioned Kwame Nkrumah,
Yes.
who was Ghana's first president. he came to the U.S. and studied at an HBCU.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
That's why he knew Martin Luther King.
Oh, wow.
And Du Bois.
And W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He studied in Europe also, didn't he?
He may have passed through Europe, but his influence was coming to HBCU, not just
So
to,
he was
to the
thinking
U.S.,
outside the box.
specifically HBCUs.
Wow.
That's right. Historically black college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found that relationship and found that, black identity and took it back to Ghana. And so he, with W.E.B. Du Bois, they're the fathers of Pan-African movement.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so Ghana flag is red, green, red, yellow, green, and the black star.
the black
star is to represent all black people.
Did y'all hear that?
So
Y'all didn't even know. A lot of people didn't even know that.
So
Nope.
so Ghana having the year of return is very it's thematic. It fits in just what Ghana represents and calling for that relationship. And since then, that was 2019. Since then, they have done Beyond the Return, a decade of African Renaissance. And I don't know if you all are taking advantage of it too. Ways where you can pathways to gain your citizenship, pathways to
Is that still open? That's still available?
Yeah.
It is. It's a great program. As a matter of fact, the Ghana representatives were here maybe a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Really?
At the Capitol.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a meeting, and I made it to the meeting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And representatives from
What was it about?
They were reaching out to African Americans. It's
offering initiatives to
business and tourism.
that are considering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming and possibly doing business in Ghana.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was great. It was a great meeting, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, and I heard about it at the last minute. You know what I mean? So I couldn't get the word out. You know what I mean? I was lucky I was able to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was a continuation of the year of the return.
Which is now called Beyond the Return.
That's right. That's right.
Wow. So that's something I didn't know. So how long is that? Is that still ongoing? Is there a time period?
It's ongoing.
Like 2019 is the year, so 2020, and they call it a decade. So it's till 20.
Who is that with you?
That was a representative from.
Oh wow.
He's head of trade and
in Ghana,
investments in Ghana.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Does Ghana get any slack from doing that? Like, since, like you say, the other countries, Ghana's pretty much one of the leading countries to do that. Do they get any flack or type
pushback?
Yeah, some type of people who don't like that happening, so type of throwing a distraction or something to try to detour.
No.
Okay.
You know why? Because it's been so positive.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There are Americans that have been moving back to Ghana over 20 years.
Okay.
I met some of them.
Yeah.
And they have started schools and universities or different programs and businesses that have enriched the community.
In Ghana, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, developments.
Yeah.
And a whole gambit of different entities and businesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so creating jobs and creating futures for young people.
Yeah. Is film? We have film out there too.
A film is still fairly.
Okay.
We're working on that.
Okay.
Right.
And working on that right now.
Damien.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
He
Okay.
already had an introductory meeting session.
How was that with you two guys there? That was cool.
Just this past March, we just put out a call to all those who are, sound engineers, anybody in the TV, movie production, that, Damien is coming, Luce is coming.
Yeah.
hey, come, let's talk.
Yeah.
They were just showing up.
What?
There's a cat that like took the bus, a 5-hour bus from Kumasi to Accra because he didn't want to miss it.
Yeah.
So people are just really eager
Yeah.
to form those collaborations and make those connections.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
him and I, we got a lot more work to
Yes.
do.
Yes, I'm definitely in on that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I like to hear this, man. This is good. This is great. Okay, all right. Let me see. Where we going, Ldale? Let me see. Man, we done covered so much. Some of my questions has been already answered.
Ask them what they experienced on the ground.
Yeah.
How did you all find? What was your on the ground experience like? Like,
Well, when you get to Ghana, you have choices as to how you're going to get around. If you travel you travel for 5 days or you travel for 7 days, I imagine that your method of transportation would be private car or rental car.
Is it expensive?
Or limo or your host vehicle. But if you're going to be on the ground for an extended period of time,
4 months.
like Vic stayed 4, I stayed 6. You know, you're generally discouraged by the expatriates not to take the chotro, which is, if you're living in New York, you know of the dollar van. Right? That you could take in Brooklyn from Flatbush Avenue.
That's
from
right.
Flatbush Avenue all the way to Kings Highway in Brooklyn. Well, the chocho, they have several chochos. They are considered to be the public transportation of Ghana. They're owned privately and dependent on where you're traveling to, the size of the vehicle is dictated by the distance of the trip. So they have like 15 seaters, they have 20 seaters and everything in between and around. There is a driver, of course, and a mate. The mate is the conductor, he collects all the money.
Okay.
You don't want to mess with the mate.
And you,
right.
And the mate is the enforcer, right? He announces the stops. He tells you what the fare is, of course, and he's a regulator. He's a regulator. So you taking the chocho is like the least expensive means of transport in Ghana.
Okay.
I mean, like a 40-mile journey could cost you on the chocho. It could cost you as much as 20 CDs, which is a Ghanaian dollar. 20 CDs, which is really 20 cents, 20 American cents.
$2 because by 10.
$2. Sorry. $2. Excuse my bad man. So, you know, and if you took that same ride with a taxi, it could cost you upwards of 500 CDs.
Yeah.
So these are the if you took a bike, a motorcycle, because there's it'll cost you more than $200 to get from from that same point to the destination.
And somebody riding you on the bike, or
you're sitting in the back.
Oh, okay.
You're just a passenger.
Yes.
But they also have Uber and Bolt.
They have Uber in Ghana.
Listen,
Uber in Ghana.
Yes.
Yes.
When you get to
So you have to understand.
Bolt is like a local
Ghana
Uber.
is like he was trying to tell, like his trips are.
Yeah.
You can get the economy version, or you can get the deluxe version.
That's
you
right.
get a 5-star
That's
situation.
in any situation.
Yes.
So for the Uber, it's very interesting. You know, it's a really good way to avoid the taxi. The taxi, there's no meter.
Right.
The taxi is
Destination
haggling. So
that's right.
they'll be like, "Oh, where are you going?" By the time you speak, they've heard the accent.
That's
you already
a
got
fact.
the surcharge.
Great.
All of a sudden, there's a surcharge. So I mean,
That's
with
a
the
fact.
With Uber, you can punch in everything.
Right,
you don't have to have a
with the
conversation.
trotro,
That's a fact.
Listen, I get surcharge. I still have an accent, so I like the trotro. You know why? I like to sit in the back and then yell it to the mates, and then the
Somebody
mates
else.
has to yell the price back. Now everybody has heard the price, so if it's out of pocket, they're gonna like
They gonna say
so
something.
to me, that's my trick.
Yeah.
But the Uber,
People can keep the mate honest.
right, they won't keep the mate honest. But the Uber is cool because first of all, switch it to cash payment. They will not take credit card because they're not waiting for Uber to then. The Uber company to then give them
send
their
them the
money.
money. That's right.
They collect the cash and what they owe Uber, they go pay to
That's
Uber
right.
rather.
That's
So
right.
change it to cash, and then the number is on there, and then they're really good.
Yeah.
They're like, how much is like, hey, the number is what the number is.
Okay.
If you want to add a tip, that's on you. But so that's a good way to kind of get used to moving independently.
Yeah.
There's the rental vehicles, obviously.
Yeah.
There's Uber. I'll say it goes rental vehicles, Uber, taxi. And then trotro, which is then you're just really catching the local you know, vibes. But yeah, there's so many ways to.
But let me ask you something, because there was something me and Luz was talking about, and like with your company, right? What's the difference between the like the tour and then the packages to, like, I don't know, like, is it somewhat to help people get themselves established or something like that? Dr. Kwesi, I'm asking you with your company.
Because of my website, sometimes I get groups that start like a group of 5, and then I ask them, hey, do you just want? Would you like people to join? Like, you know, so now you have, you know, you can build it to a group of 10 or 15.
Okay.
If now somebody came with me to it's a birthday celebration, now we don't want others to join. So sometimes there's existing packages. Those have the days set, the budget levels already set. That's you joining something that's pre-planned.
Okay.
Versus, hey, it's me and my 5 friends, or me and my 20 people, or just solo travelers. I have an Uber driver who is part of my team. If you're a solo traveler, I just call him, hey, give this person the the 1-day tour or 5-day tour, whatever you request. So those are the difference. There's just put together package. The limits are already set up, so you don't have to make too much decisions. You just see if it agrees with you. Versus you and your family, you and your friends, you and your peoples. I do a lot of school trips too, study abroad trips too. So that's the educational side I have.
That's awesome.
I haven't taken any groups over there. Most of the people that I have been matriculating with are work in the film industry. You know what I mean? I want to build I'd like to build a studio there.
That would be awesome.
But
that would be awesome.
Production companies make movies. And studios just service production companies.
Right.
And I am a writer, director. So as a matter of fact, I wrote my first, I can say, African American screenplay my last trip there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
that makes some noise for that. Get this on his right tip, yo. I like that.
Making moves.
I was so inspired, man. I wrote a 90-page screenplay. Thanks to my friend in Aburi, John, who has a 40-room guest house. And it was so peaceful up there. No mosquitoes, so I didn't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? Hey, man, it's beautiful.
Nice.
The mountains is beautiful and peaceful.
Yeah.
And when you're writing, that solitude, you know what I mean? Nobody to interrupt you, nobody to bother you. I had a great suite at his guest house. Hey, man.
Food at your beck and call.
Yes.
Fresh fruit.
Hey,
coconut.
He even let his wife cook for me.
Right.
He even let his wife cook for me. Hey, but I had to pay for that because I had to walk with her.
Right.
Most mornings. And man, she could walk. I mean those heels and man, she could walk. But I enjoyed it so much that I got that 90 pages done, man. I was like, and it'd been about 3 or 4 years since I had written a screenplay. So, that type of inspiration doesn't happen every day.
Right.
So, man, I'm telling you, man.
That's the continent for you.
But some of my friends, we are putting trips together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And specifically because we work in the film industry.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to make one of those trips with you.
All right, man.
For real.
Hey.
Ldale, earlier we was talking about something where it's really no smoking like that in Ghana. You see?
Cigarette smoke.
No cigarette smoking,
Cigarette
right.
smoke is not something, you don't see people standing on corners wasting time, waiting. I mean, you know, people don't hang on the corner with cigarettes in their hand. We don't bump cigarettes. We don't give cigarettes. None of that happens.
Right.
Nope.
So that's a thing, or is that just
It's just part of the culture.
Okay.
It is part of the culture.
Yeah.
In some circles, it is understood that if you see a woman smoking cigarettes, she's probably somebody who has something to sell. You know what I mean? Talking about ladies of the night.
The oldest profession.
Ladies of the night with sales.
Yeah, you know, you're not going anywhere except you go to a club where, and I don't think that they allow you to do that, but they don't have regulations like they do here.
Yeah.
To come out smelling like you just walked out of a pack of tobacco.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's refreshing, interesting, and all of the good things that go with it.
Wow.
I didn't see people with colds in Ghana, you know.
Really?
I might see the occasional child whose mother might have had an argument with their father with a runny nose, because that happens in relationships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, the diet is a high vitamin C one. Everybody eats pepper, even the baby.
Yeah.
I mean, hot peppers.
Yeah.
Right?
Even the baby.
My sister,
Yeah.
right, who I live with in Ghana. She went to Africa with a couple ailments, hypertension being one of them, and she came back here, right? And they took her off of the medication. So if you want to reboot, if you want a health reboot, you can go to Ghana.
Yeah, you hear
watch what you eat. You're gonna watch what you eat anyway, because a lot of the Ghanaian meals are fermented.
Yeah.
I have a problem with fermented foods.
Okay.
So you know.
So no banku for you.
Banku, kenke.
No kenke for you.
And these are good.
Get me some banku and tilapia.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something. Everybody in America smells the same. As difficult as it might seem, it's hard to accept. So everybody in Ghana smells the same. You know what I mean? Everybody in Russia subsequently smells the same. You know, because you are what you eat.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And you get the food in the country, you're going to smell like the country.
You drink the water?
Initially it threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Because now I'm getting all of these odors, you know what I mean? And I'm unfamiliar with these odors, you know? And it's not a funky odor,
Right.
but it's new. It's new. You know what I mean? Like,
that mix of shea butter and cocoa butter, and then you've been eating the palm oil, and then it all comes out.
And the fish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fish is actually the odor that's ubiquitous in Accra. In Accra, you're going to smell fish because the Ga are there. And they're fishing people.
Okay.
And one of the major industries in Accra is fishing.
Okay.
Accra and Tema.
Okay.
There are a lot of fishing, and they eat fish that is as small as the tail of this.
Whoa.
Right? They deep fry them, and they crush it in different stews that they make, like the pepper sauces and things that they make.
Yeah.
And the pepper sauces are not like what people in the West Indies make.
Yeah.
In the West Indies, we make these sauces that you put, it's just pepper, onions, and ginger. Pepper, onions, and ginger.
Yeah.
And of course some salt.
Yeah.
And the babies eat it.
Yeah. Wow.
Hot foods.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And
That's just how it is.
I could tell you this in 3 words. Ghana is nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Ghana is
Right.
nice.
Ghana is nice.
Ghana is
Right.
nice.
It's not heaven,
Yeah.
but it's heavenly.
Heavenly.
Don't go with your misconceptions.
Yeah.
It's not heaven, but it's heavenly.
Yeah.
I live,
It's heavenly. I like
live in a
that.
community that's been where it is for about 1400 years. You know what I mean? Those people survived slavery right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could only imagine that slavery to a great extent disrupted their community.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like it would have impacted the whole of Africa.
Right.
Something that I observed too. A lot of the West African countries, their culture, the cultural narratives that they came from Egypt. The Ashanti is no different. You know what I mean? The Ga actually say that they came from Egypt too via some other route, and you know, I think the Yorubas has some narrative that is harking to Egypt. You know, so the invasion of Africa has been something that has been going on for thousands of years, beyond 10,000 years.
Okay.
You know, and right now Africa is under siege. The only description I can give of Africa, as nice as we would paint it, it's under siege. We drink out of rubber bags like they do on the battlefield. They call it pure water. You know, it's an industry. Africa is sold. It's selling water. A lot of women find work selling this water. And at the same time, a lot of the water in Ghana and different nations in Africa is contaminated because of the mining that people do. You know, they do it without guidelines, and the commissions are not
It's
doing
disrupting a lot of the environment.
Yes, the
A lot of mining
environment is
goes on
being
in
taxed
Ghana?
because of the mining for gold and diamonds and all of that.
Yeah.
And Ghana is one of the places that has an abundance of water, right? But if the water is contaminated, it impacts us.
That's right. That's
you
right.
know. Still a nice place.
Yeah.
Still a nice place.
Yeah.
You know, I find that the young people are very intelligent.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, like really intelligent. Even the kid whose mother can't read. You show them something, and their ability to absorb what you tell them is like on steroids.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's tough not to want to teach somebody something. You know what I mean? So I met this one kid, his mother can't read. She's a young woman in her late 30s. And I wrote out a timetable for him. And in 15 minutes, he came back to me knowing it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I started to run with this kid. And then other kids started to come around, and I would give them the timetables, and they would do it. And that is such a turn on. So now I have people who are interested in these kids and their futures, and they want to put them through schools if we could be consistent with that. Ghana has a lot of children with potential. I am mindful of the reality that if you send a kid outside of the country, a boy in particular outside of the country, before they are able to establish lifelong friendships, they'll never come back. They'll never come back.
That's deep.
You're going to fall in love with somebody.
You're
going to, it is a natural progression that you're going to fall in love with somebody. And if you go into a country that doesn't have a lot of the people from where you are, you're going to meet somebody strange. And the chance of you coming home to help the people who you love, your first love, becomes slim because you're going to get treasures. You know what I mean? And your children are your treasures. So
That's
it
true.
keeps you from doing the things that you think you wanted to do when you were a child or a young
That's
person.
amazing.
That is
Wow.
true. That is true.
Come to Ghana. I don't encourage people to come to Ghana because I saw every one of you there. Everybody has a double in Ghana. Even more.
Right. I gotta see this, man.
I've seen Ghanaians, right? Jet black, nappy hair like mine, looking like Chinese. With Chinese bone structure. I've seen them with European bone structure. I mean, thin lips, aquiline nostrils. Black and nappy headed. You can't tell the difference between an Elvis Presley and a Ghanaian, except for their complexion.
Really?
In Africa is where it all begins.
That's fact.
Come find out for yourself.
Y'all hear that?
There
Come
is
find
no-
out for
There
yourself.
is no bone structure that can be attributed to anywhere else but Africa.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I really see it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
When's your next trip?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be in Ghana in June.
I'm
Next
there
month.
this month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
God willing, I'm out of here this month.
Yeah.
You too?
Do you have a date?
You said this month?
This month, yeah. I'm
Oh,
out
wow.
of
Do you
here.
have a date yet?
No, I don't have a date. But
Okay.
Y'all gonna link?
I have the will.
Okay.
Y'all gonna
I
link?
got, I got June 3rd, so I'll
Yeah,
be.
you out too?
Yeah.
How long you gonna be? How long you gonna be over?
2 months.
Yeah.
2 months?
It's
2
already
months for
the
me?
set.
Dio, when we
Yeah.
out?
Maybe 3. I mean, you know.
I'll probably be gone for about 4.
You're gonna do a long
Yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get my passport.
I'm gonna try to get my residency.
What else
you
do
know?
you? What else do
I
you?
mean, y'all got something for me? Because
Listen,
Hey, man, you can
y'all
go.
wanna ask Damien a question?
When you do come, you can come and stay by me, man.
All right,
I
thank
live,
you,
I live on
Ldale.
a hill.
I don't
I
mind.
live on a mountaintop.
I don't mind.
You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
clouds come into my
Right.
my hall. The clouds come into my hall in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful,
That's
man.
heavenly. That's
Right,
heavenly.
heavenly.
Like I say,
That's
like I
heavenly.
say,
Heavenly.
Well, yo, well, this has been an awesome show, guys. I want y'all to make a round of applause for my awesome guests. This show has been amazing. Learned so much. You know what I mean? Bring
All
this to
right.
a close, man. So,
Definitely in the
yeah,
house,
I
yeah.
want to go home, and now I see, talking to these guys, I am. I'm going
great.
home.
You're ready.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time. That's the Elly
Peace.
Show.
Peace.